Good morning. Welcome to the Southern Bible Thumper channel. For this upload, we're going to be reading Judges chapter 19. This chapter is particularly disturbing because the end, this man divides a woman's body into 12 pieces and sends it all over to the different people of Israel. We're going to read what happened, but this is the first time I read this, it was at night because you read the Bible before you go to bed at night. Before you go to bed at night. And I just thought it was going to be another, fighting over territory. I did not expect this. So, okay. Without further ado, Judges chapter 19. And it came to pass in those days, when there was no king in Israel, that there was a certain Levite sojourning on the side of Mount Ephraim, who took to him a concubine out of Bethlehem, Judah. And his concubine played the whore against him, and went away from him unto her father's house to Bethlehem, Judah, and was there 4 whole months. Her husband arose, and went after her, to speak friendly unto her, and to bring her again, having his servant with him, and a couple of asses. And she brought him into her father's house. And when the father of the damsel saw him, he rejoiced to meet him. And his father-in-law, the damsel's father, retained him, and he abode with him 3 days. So they did eat and drink, and lodged there. And it came to pass on the 4th day, when they arose early in the morning, that he rose up to depart. And the damsel's father said unto his son-in-law, Comfort thy heart with a morsel of bread, and afterward go your way. And they sat down, and did eat and drink both of them together. For the damsel's father had said unto the man, Be content, I pray thee, and tarry all night, and let thine heart be merry. And when the man rose up to depart, his father-in-law urged him, therefore he lodged there again. And he arose early in the morning on the 5th day to depart. And the damsel's father said, Comfort thine heart, I pray thee. And they tarried until afternoon, and they did eat both of them. And when the man rose up to depart, he and his concubine and his servant, his father-in-law, the damsel's father, said unto him, Behold, now the day draweth toward evening. I pray you tarry all night. Behold, the day groweth to an end. Lodge here, that thine heart may be merry, and tomorrow get you early on your way, that thou mayest go home. But the man would not tarry that night, but he rose up and departed, and came over against Jebus, which is Jerusalem. And there were with him 2 asses saddled. His concubine also was with him. And when they were by Jebus, the day was far spent. And the servant said unto his master, Come, I pray thee, and let us turn in into the city of the Jebusites, and lodge in it. And his master said unto him, We will not turn aside hither into the city of a stranger, that is not of the children of Israel. We will pass over to Gibeah. And he said unto his servant, Come, and let us draw near to one of these places to lodge all night, in Gibeah, or in Ramah. And they passed on and went their way, and the sun went down upon them when they were by Gibeah, which belongeth to Benjamin. And they turned aside thither, to go in and to lodge in Gibeah. And when he went in, he sat him down in a street of the city, for there was no man that took them into his house to lodging. And behold, there came an old man from his work out of the field at even, which was also of Mount Ephraim, and he sojourned in Gibeah. But the men of the place were Benjamites. And when he had lifted up his eyes, he saw a wayfaring man in the street of the city. And the old man said, Whither goest thou, and whence comest thou? And he said unto him, We are passing from Bethlehem, Judah, toward the side of Mount Ephraim. From thence am I. And I went to Bethlehem, Judah, but I am now going to the house of the Lord, and there is no man that receiveth me to the house. Yet there is both straw and provender for our asses, and there is bread and wine also for me, and for thy handmaid, and for the young man which is with thy servants. There is no want of anything. And the old man said, Peace be with thee. Howsoever, let all thy wants lie upon me. Only lodge not in the street. So he brought him into his house, and gave provender unto the asses, and they washed their feet, and did eat and drink. Now, as they were making their hearts merry, behold, the men of the city, certain sons of Belial, beset the house round about, and beat at the door, and spake to the master of the house, the old man, saying, Bring forth the man that came into thine house, that we may know him. And the man, the master of the house, went out unto them and said unto them, Nay, my brethren, nay, I pray you, do not so wickedly, seeing that this man is come into mine house, do not this folly. Behold, here is my daughter, a maiden, and his concubine, them I will bring out now, and humble ye them, and do to them what seemeth good unto you. But unto this man do not so vile a thing. But the men would not hearken to him. So the man took his concubine and brought her forth unto them, and they knew her, and abused her all night until the morning. And when the day began to spring, they let her go. Then came the woman in the dawning of the day, and fell down at the door of the man's house where her lord was, till it was light. And her lord rose up in the morning, and opened the doors of the house, and went out to go his way. And behold, the woman, his concubine, was fallen down at the door of the house, and her hands were upon the threshold. And he said unto her, Up, and let us be going. But none answered. Then the man took her up upon an ass, and the man rose up and got him into his place. And when he was come into his house, he took a knife, and laid hold on his concubine, and divided her, together with the bones, into 12 pieces, and sent her into all the coasts of Israel. And it was so, that all that saw it said, There was no such deed done nor seen from the day that the children of Israel came up out of the land of Egypt unto this day. Consider of it, take advice, and speak your minds. In Judges chapter 19. So this chapter is detailing an incident about a woman who leaves her partner. The Bible insinuates that she was unfaithful, but she leaves the man, her partner, and goes back to her father's house. After some time, the man wants to make up with her. So he brings some donkeys and a servant and goes to her father's house. And her father welcomes this man with open arms and rejoices. And so for 3 days, he's like, You can stay here, just stay here, celebrate. And he was happy that his daughter and his daughter's man was there. The reason why I'm saying it like this is because the way this is written, she's mentioned as a concubine. She's nameless, and she just keeps being mentioned as concubine, concubine. But then in verse 3, her husband, a concubine is usually unmarried. So we know that Samuel is credited for writing this. When we see how Deborah was referenced, when we see how Jael was referenced, and then Samson's mother. Samson's mother wasn't even named, but these women were all referred to with some level of decency. This woman is just called a concubine, but her husband is called a husband. That just stuck out to me immediately. So they have some kind of disagreement. The girl leaves, goes to her father's house. The husband or the man goes to the father's house too. The father welcomes him. He stays for 3 days. And then we have here on the fifth, on verse 5, they rose early. The girl's father again said, Stay again. You can stay another day. So they stayed another day. This is showing you, like, this father-in-law, he didn't have a problem with the son staying there. He didn't have a problem with the daughter being there. It also just suggests that possibly this man felt that there was something wrong, and that maybe that would be the last time he would see his daughter, because the 5th day, the man says again, just stay here again, stay here again. And after they ate and it's the evening, the man says, Stay the night. But the man would not spend the night. So this is evening. So they're going to be traveling at night. This is before guns and before cars. Took the woman that they had a disagreement, traveled at night with her, did not secure a place for them to be at for the night. And so they went and sat down in the open square of the city. They were going to just sleep outside instead of staying with the girl's father's house, waiting until the next day, and then traveling by daytime, maybe having a chance to secure a place to stay. So now there's an old man coming from work who spots them outside, and he says, "Hey, where are you coming from?" And the husband explains that they're passing through, they're traveling, and they couldn't find anyone to let them lodge in their home. He tells the old man, "So we have food for our donkeys, we have bread and wine for ourselves, and your female servant." In the King James, it says, "Your handmaid, thy handmaid." It's the first time she's referred to as something kind, you know? Not, I mean, I wouldn't say kind, but not concubine. They just met this man. He just took this woman from the safety of her father, who was happy to have her there, to travel with her at night, sleep outside, and now there's some strange man who's saying, "Hey, you can stay with us." And the first thing he responds is, "Yeah, well, we have food, we have everything we need. We just need a place to go. Here's your handmaid." So they end up going to this strange man's house. They were making their hearts merry, and then worthless fellows surrounded the house, beating on the door, wanting to have sex with this man, the husband, who brought this woman out into this situation in this strange place. This is just like Genesis chapter 19 with Lot. This is 300 something pages later. And I'm just considering some of these laws about marriage, some of these laws about how if there's a woman who's a female servant, a slave, to marry her, it's because this is the kind of environment that this is the culture. People will come to your house and assault you. And they're only asking to do this to men. They're not even asking for women. This is the second time they're not even asking for women. Also, there are no real set laws against sex before marriage right now. And that kind of goes with how God creates. He creates, he observes, he makes an assessment of value, he creates more. He's mentioned homosexuality in Leviticus. Something gets people to this point where they're demanding sex from people. They're demanding access to people's bodies. And I'm not saying it's a homosexual thing, but in these two cases, it's that demanding access. So again, these men surround the house. They demand this man who traveled at night with this woman, they want to have sex with him. And the old man who's invited everyone to stay at the home, he says, "No, don't have sex with the man, but you can have my virgin daughter, and you can also have this man's concubine, this strange man, this woman who was just safe with her father. You can take her and my virgin daughter, and you can do whatever you want with them, violate them, use them, R-word them, abuse them, do whatever you want, humble them." Don't go against the man, humble the woman. So they seize the concubine, the man, so the man. And what they're talking about is the husband. The man seized his concubine the Levite took hold of his concubine, the preacher, the lineage of priest. That's what makes this so much more disturbing. This husband who had the situation, he's a priest class, a descendant of a priest. He took his concubine and he made her go out there to them, and only the concubine, not the virgin daughter. They armored her, abused her all night, taking turns until the morning. But when the dawn came, they let her go. As morning appeared, the woman came back to the man's house, the old man who let them stay there for the night, and collapsed in the doorway. Her master, remember at the beginning, he was her husband. Now he's her master after she's been humbled. Rose up in the morning. His concubine was laying at the door. He says to her, "Get up. Let's get going." It just says a lot because you just left her outside after you created that horrible situation. You could have just waited to travel in the daytime. I don't know why I feel so invested in this, but it's a Levite is a priest class. And even though, their religious system has become degraded right now, it's just very, maybe because I was just so surprised when I read this. I expected to read something else and I got this and I was surprised. And it's disturbing. Okay. So the people demand that someone come out. He seizes his own woman that was safe, makes her go out there to them. They take turns on her all night and abuse her. She collapses. He tells her, "Up, let's get up." There was no answer. So he put her on the donkey. Doesn't say he was sad, doesn't say he felt anything, didn't say nothing. But he entered his house, he took a knife, he cut her into 12 pieces and sent her throughout the territory of Israel. It's the worst thing to happen in Israel since leaving Egypt. I know I'm stretching the time a little bit, but this man is a Levite, a descendant of a priest. This woman was safe with her father. It says she was unfaithful with him. He went and spent time with her family, brought 2 donkeys, and as soon as they got to a place where it was something strange, instead of him protecting her, he said, "Hey, your handmaid, yeah, whatever you need, if you need to get your rocks off, there's a woman here to do it for you. If we can just stay with you for the night." And it's like the father knew, or the father, "Please stay here for another night. Stay. You don't have to travel at night." I don't know. It's very disturbing because it also says something about him that he cut her into pieces. Like, after that, what did you get her for if you were just going to do that to her? You just left her with her father. There were not even that many laws. There were no laws about even marriage right now. You could have just married somebody else. But it's going to get worse. It's actually going to get worse. All right. Thank you for clicking on the video. I love you. Have a good day.